Recently, a Smithsonian traveling exhibit about waterways highlighted the Becker County Museum's ability to attract high-quality work and to educate students visiting the museum.
I love having kids in here. And normally when the kids come to the museum, they can't touch anything, which is unfortunate. We've been working really hard on getting things that kids can reach out and touch. And there's a lot of interactive items on this Smithsonian exhibit, as well as the Humanities We Are Water Minnesota exhibit, and then the science exhibits downstairs. So the kids can reach out and they can touch stuff, they can turn dials and push buttons and flip panels. And I think that's what kids learn from best. If they can put their hands on it and move it around and read it to each other or quiz each other on, hey, if I lift up this flap, what are we gonna find?
The exhibit upstairs is the Smithsonian Waterways, and it's really important that we have a local connection to that as well. So a part of the exhibit has been trying to really get people involved on a local level, how water affects them, what their ties to water has been throughout their lives. So the local part of it is really interesting as well. Downstairs we have set up as somewhat of a science lab where there's some different exhibits, more hands-on things.
They make connections for other field trips as well as this one. They kind of connect all of them as well. I think they are important because the more experiences they can get and the more they see, I think it really solidifies the real world experiences that they get, and I think the exposure to that is really important.
The Historical Society was formed in the late 1800s. They moved into a facility in the courthouse in the 1920s, I believe, and stayed there until the 1980s when they moved into our current facility. And over those years, they've continued to grow and expand and collect the artifacts from Becker County. And of course, our mission is to continue to share those with the residents of Becker County and really represent the people of this county and surrounding areas. We had a really fun instance today that happened on display right now. There's a smaller exhibit on the Audubon Bank robbery, and one of the fourth graders that were here said that was my grandpa, and he was actually kidnapped on his birthday. So that adds another level then, that we didn't know it was his birthday. That's another little extra tidbit of information to add to that exhibit.
We do some community outreach. We go out into retirement villages and nursing homes, and we take our museum to those who cannot come into the museum. I also go into schools and I do classroom presentations for kids on an individual class basis. If they can't all come here at once, I take parts of the museum to them. I also do programs now along with Becky, and it takes two of us to get this museum up and running. We also have some volunteers and some part-time staff that help us as well, but it's a lot of work for the two of us, but together we get it done.
The museum is funded through private donation, and then we are blessed to have some support from Becker County. They fund about half of our budget every year. The permanent collection comes from the residents of Becker County. Sometimes we get contacted by various entities if they've got an exhibit that's touring and we're along the way and they want to try to fill a spot. Waterways in particular was a partnership that the Smithsonian did with the Minnesota Humanities Center. So then they had a granting opportunity. We as an entity had to basically fill out a grant application to get that exhibit in. And sometimes we're just looking for exhibits, maybe we're doing a transportation exhibit or a sound, history of telephones and what have you. So then you can, as a director, you go and search for those exhibits. I think it's much deeper than people think it is. We're a pretty diverse county. We have, of course, a portion of the county is on the White Earth Reservation, and we have the gut instinct by people is that we're very Scandinavian based, which of course we are, but there's also a strong German community, a strong Polish community, and I think people find that very interesting as they start to delve a little bit deeper and peel away those layers, if you will. If you're doing research, you can come in, and the museum is open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 4, and you're welcome to come into the research library and do your research. If we have staff available to help you. If it's a big project, you might want to give us the heads up, because sometimes we can try to pull some information ahead of time, but the community is welcome to come in.
The kids have been really receptive to it. It's neat to watch them open their eyes wide, see things that they may not have seen before, look at things in a completely different way. When you can talk to kids, especially on a one-on-one basis, and really see that light bulb go on, that you know that connection has been made.
I hadn't come into the museum until my kids came on a field trip to the museum, and my oldest son came home and he said, "We went to the museum today." And I thought, a county museum, what could a county museum have? And now working here, we basically have everything. We have stuff pre-Civil War, we've got a lot of military memorabilia, everything up to present day items. We've got photographs, our research library is full of genealogy information, and if anybody needs to know anything about Becker County, this is probably the best place to go, because we've got a little bit of everything, and if we don't have it, we know where to get it.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.